Hey everybody, 16 Ounce Setups here. I'm gonna have a pretty quick video today for you guys. I am in the process of building out my personal desk setup, and I really just wanted to reiterate the importance of building a solid base for the rest of your setup. So today we're gonna be talking about your desk. Now, your desk really is going to be the foundation for the rest of your setup. It's going to be the first thing you see when you start putting all your components on it. It's going to be the surface that you're working on. It's going to be what you're relying on to hold up all your equipment. So it's important that you invest in a nice product that you really like. I think the first thing you're going to want to consider for your desk is the size. Now, the length is going to be entirely dependent on the size of your room and the size of all your components and just kind of how much overall space you really want. But I think an often overlooked dimension is your depth. If you go for something super small like I have here, this is only 24 inches in depth, you really need to consider the amount of space you're going to have. If you look at a monitor and its elongated stand, it's likely that you might need monitor arms if you really want to maximize your space. I plan on having a larger mouse pad here, so I definitely will need a stand that is not covering up some of my space. So perhaps consider a desk with a longer depth than necessary. That being said, my particular setup is definitely an outlier here. This is actually meant to be used as a workbench, not as a desk. So if you're buying a desk for the purpose of your office space, chances are the depth will be perfectly fine. And we'll talk about why I chose a workbench a little later. I think another important consideration is if you want a stationary sitting desk or if you want an adjustable desk. Personally, I love the idea of having an adjustable desk just because I know if I ever want to stand up down the line, I have the ability to do so. I think for the purposes of a workstation, it's great to be able to have that adjustability throughout the day. That being said, for a personal setup, I do think I'll be sitting the majority of the time, but again, I think it'll be great to have that option in the future. The next important thing I would consider here are the materials, the first of that being your desk surface. Now, personally, I like to opt for a solid wood. I think it looks very nice having this kind of natural flavor to your desk. Having a hardwood, you know you're going to be in great hands regarding quality. You can always stain it or paint it if you want a totally different color. And you don't have one of those cheap like fiberboard-like materials that you would get from a place like Amazon. Now, wood definitely isn't the only material that you have available to you here. You can go for something like glass for dry erase capabilities. You can go for a nice metal desk. You can even go for some of the cheaper fiberboard options from big box retailers. It's really ultimately up to you. Just know that if you're buying a cheaper surface, there is a chance you're sacrificing some quality. Now, an often overlooked component of desks are the legs. Obviously, if you're buying a desk as an entire package, you're going to just get what you pay for, you're going to get the legs. But if you're buying a surface and legs separately, you have a lot of customizable options out there. What I really like about going this separate surface and leg route is that you can piece together a desk that you wouldn't find in a package elsewhere. You can really kind of cater your desk to your aesthetic and functional preferences. For instance, there was a time when the internet loved to just buy a wooden butcher block and then set it on whatever legs that they chose fit for their setup. People would use metal legs, people would use wooden cabinets, people would use some types of drawers for storage capabilities. Again, it really is catering to your personal needs, and I think this is a great option for a lot of people. So with all these ideas in mind, you can start figuring out what exactly you want for your desk. In my case, I knew I wanted a medium-sized desk with a relatively shallow depth. I knew I wanted a wooden surface with metal legs, and I knew I wanted some adjustability. Now, if this option didn't already exist on the market, I would definitely customize my desk and piece it together separately. However, I ventured into the area of workbenches and actually bought my Husky adjustable workbench from Home Depot. This checked all my boxes. It had multiple different lengths to choose from. It had the shallow-ish depth that I was looking for, had the awesome wooden surface and great metal legs, and even offered some adjustability. One thing I liked particularly about this desk is that the adjustability aspect wasn't super in your face and obnoxious. It's just this little lever on the side that you can actually take out and put back in and change your desk as needed. So this desk can definitely function entirely as a minimal sitting workstation if I really want to. And this goes to show you don't really have to strictly stick to office desks when you're looking for something for your new setup. You can venture into the workbench scene like I did. You can buy kitchen countertops and piece it together separately like some other people do. You can really be creative. Just think about the surfaces that exist out there and think about some customizable options. There are some components to desks that might be more important to you than they were to me. I'm thinking about things like cable management. I will be having a separate video in the future on how to attach this separately. There are things like built-in accessory hubs where you can attach your cords via USB or a power outlet, or you can go for an entire custom build that'll build an office desk catered to your setup. Obviously, these are things that will be slightly more expensive and weren't a preference for me, but might be for you. So in conclusion, I really think it's important to recognize that your desk is really the base for the rest of your setup. It's going to be your functional base, your aesthetic base. It really is going to be the thing that starts off your theme. So first, really think about the size of the desk that you're going to need, then think about the material quality that you're going to want, and finally figure out if you can piece this together separately or if you can find a package that suits your needs. And I do have a separate review for this specific desk/workbench you can check out if you want to. And finally, this is 16-ounce setups. Again, I was brewing with black and white coffee this week. I really like some of the kind of fruity, adventurous flavors that they've been offering in this subscription package I've been getting. It's brewing through the Chemex. I think the paper filter here really offers a nice, clean cup of coffee. And I mean, the Chemex is just beautiful to look at. See you guys in the next one.